Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Darkness, everybody, darkness. Okay, now that you all are wide awake, how was that for morning coffee? So, that being said, this one's about PnB rock, as I promised in my last upload. And I decided to wait until a lot of things, wait until some time passed, see what developed from it. But right now what we got is enough to start with to teach all of us a lesson. There's a proverb in India that says that a stupid friend is worse than an intelligent enemy. And I would say that a stupid friend is probably about as bad as an intelligent enemy. But I understand why the proverb goes that such friend is worse. They're saying that that friend does not have to mean you any harm. In order to harm you, their stupidity is enough. And I would state this, gentlemen, let that be a lesson to you, because we have allowed in the West, as I've stated, by being too easy, we've allowed Western sisters to be stupid in such a way that it doesn't matter if they are malicious or not. The results wind up being the same. Now, I would have said, if I had to come up with this proverb, I would have said that a stupid friend is as bad as an intelligent enemy. As dangerous, as harmful. Without the intention, I would have stated it that way. But I understand why in India the proverb says that such is worse. And I'm not saying this to big up India. I know. Some of y'all gonna say, here you go with your identity confusion because you all mixed up and we don't care nothing about no India. This ain't about them. It's about the proverb. It's about the lesson. I'm sure that there are parts of Africa that have similar sayings and proverbs. And if there are, and you know of it, tell me. Tell me where it's said. Get as specific as possible. It's said in this language. It's said in this region. However specific you can get, let me know. Put it in the comments so we can learn something. Because usually arguments boil down to what both sides don't know. And when you get down to two black people arguing, it usually comes down to the fact that they didn't even disagree. They just each knew different parts of something. Like two blind men arguing over the description of an elephant. The legs are big. No, man, he got a big old long nose. Oh my God. Bruh. Y'all ain't, neither one of you's lying. You just arguing because you're blind and you're black. That's what we're like. So getting back to the lesson at hand and the proverb. The issue here is that, and I don't know his girlfriend's name. I don't know his real name for that matter. She, as according to what he said 2 weeks ago, she wanted to keep posting locations as to where they are. And he was like, no, man, shuck that fit. That's dangerous. We've had people driving crazy ways like they're trying to rob us. And we're not doing that. And she just insisted. And somebody wrote that she inadvertently put the location and led them to rob him. But you know what? I don't think. I'm going to be honest with you, and I admit this is just a suspicion. I would not arraign her or arrest her or indict her for this right now because it's just a suspicion. And I don't say this out of hatred. I say it based on a pattern. I say it because I don't think that she, as a grown adult human being, is organically this stupid. But then again, we let them be stupid and get away with it. However, they have this thing and they say this, act girly. Lighten your voice and dumb yourself down a little bit. Try to seem helpless. Danica Marie talked about this. She mentioned something like this. She mentioned how it is that these girls talking about soft girl era are still trying to depict themselves and come off as girls to appeal to our protective instincts when in fact what we need are women. She said this, and this is exactly what I've been saying for a while. Now, I would say to Danica Marie, yeah, you know what? Cover up a little more when you record. But I understand that particular message. That's true. Act like an adult. Women can be adults. They have to. They're supposed to be. And this is where the third world oftentimes offers better and superior wives than the first world. In the first world, they're quick to tell you they're adults and they're not kids. But then when they want something from you, start acting like kids and not adults. And when it's time to be accountable, they start acting like kids and not adults. And we fall for it because we're too easy. And there's really nothing else we've done wrong besides that collectively. And this is what happened in this case. Now I put this in perspective and I understand what MOT was getting at. Now, MOT may not like a lot of us. He may not like me, and I don't blame him if he doesn't. Sometimes I'm an unlikable person. Not out of hatred, but just sometimes the situations demand such. But one thing he was right about was when he talked about this reptile, he said she's been treacherous from jump. I know, I worked in law enforcement, and sometimes when you did a bid because of an anonymous tip, it was her. He's talked about this. And that was a wealth of knowledge for him to give to us. I'll never forget that. See, the thing is, if you want to debate about whether the stupid friend or the smart enemy is worse, the end result is that it doesn't mother cuss word matter. That's the end result of it. Which one's worse? They're the same. It doesn't matter. When someone is so dumb but they're close to you, it doesn't matter if they intentionally, knowingly set you up or they just leak stuff because they're dumb. Morally, it does matter. But as far as the outcomes go, it doesn't matter. That man is dead, whether she meant to do it or whether she was just trying to flex in front of her mother cuss word friends. Look who I got. Look what I got. Look what I'm getting out of him. In the end, see, she was not smart enough to be a true loyal friend. I just don't think she was that stupid. A little airheaded, yeah. Probably vain. But you see, when you are too dumb for a woman's liking, and mind you, sisters have demanded a high levels of stupidity and aggression and brutishness in men. But when you're too dumb for her liking, that's it, you're too dumb. If you're too dumb for her liking in the first place. Well, I mean, I don't have to tell you when you're too smart for her liking, and it doesn't take a whole lot of that. I mean, you could just be reading at grade level and not be a stereotype, and then you're too smart for her liking. And she tells you that. Maybe she doesn't tell you. Either way, the result is the same. You failed with women because of whatever you are too much of for their liking. Gentlemen, you don't like for women to be stupid. Why the hell do they still have chances? He had to become a rapper. He had to rise above others enough to get some sort of fame to get a ditzy, dumb Instagram model who either set him up accidentally because she's stupid and vain, or set him up intentionally because she's greedy and vain. Which one is it? The outcome is the same, that man is dead and he didn't have to be. And the reason is because this message is not getting out enough to enough young men fast enough. And I know it's spreading quickly. You guys can see how, you guys know better than I do how quickly or slowly this message is spreading. You know, you live there. I just visited from about right after Kevin Samuels crossed the 1 million subscriber mark to another 5 weeks. I just visited. But you gentlemen can see it. You've seen how quickly it's moved around. The message is going from one to the next, but it's not going fast enough because you see, until the day that these rappers understand that even if they're idiot, dumb mumble rappers, and they have the intelligence to not get robbed and get somebody else robbed, they shouldn't be with broads who ain't that intelligent. It's got to be understood. He died because she would not respect what he said about not posting locations. And understand, you can share experiences. If you just have to share experiences on social media, you can do so in a safe way. It's real simple. You post a location as you leave it. By the time they get there, you gone. May not be too far away, but I mean, you didn't say where you were going. Good. You can leave Google reviews of different businesses and locations as you, or even after you've left. You can post photos on Google Maps. I'm about to do that for my company. If my company blocks my green card transfer to another sponsor, to another employee, I'm going to put a nasty review. I'm not playing games with them. I don't have to be at their head office in Riyadh to do that. I don't have to be at the egg and cheese restaurant around the corner for me to post a review. I usually post these reviews when I'm not there eating. I'm done. I take the photo if I'm going to take a photo because the restaurant was either quite good or quite bad. I can post the photos later. There are ways to do these things. You can share on Facebook and everything else, but you do it as you are leaving. And if you are in an airport, you sit down in your chair on the plane, pull the phone out before you have to turn them off. Put your little check into this airport, flying to so-and-so. I'm going here, I'm going there. And you don't put the airport to which you're going, you just put maybe a city. Or you lie about an airport to which you're going. Now see, when I come back into Saudi from abroad, I can put that I'm going to Riyadh. Nobody in Riyadh is going to harm me. As a matter of fact, I actually put my city. I'm allowed to. Facebook lets you do that. Doesn't matter through which airport, major airport I'm going, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter my connecting flights. Because in the city in which I live now, nobody's going to harm me. But see, I know this area is safe. I don't sit up here and say, hey, you know what? I'm actually going to be flying I'm going to fly to my city on the Gulf Coast, and I'm going to go through the Minneapolis airport and then the Memphis airport. And I don't do that. And even if I did it, who knows that black mind just walked past them. My name and face are not on here, and I know better than that. When I did live in Atlanta and I would leave town, I didn't put on Facebook, yeah, I'm traveling here and there. I didn't tell everybody in my hometown when I was going to visit my hometown on Facebook. Why? Because some ninjas in Atlanta could see it, and people who mean well might say, yeah, you know, man, black is out of town. Oh, okay. And then while I'm out of town, somebody's trying to get into the house. Or maybe just trying to go and see if they can flirt with my wife at that time. Yeah, one dude tried it. Supposed to be a friend. That could be something for story time. Look, gentlemen, this illustrates why it is that you have to get out of the culture. It's necessary. You must, because if you don't get out of that culture where you live, in which we've all been raised, this is going to happen more often. And see, now I'm starting to wonder. I think she set him up intentionally. I hope to be wrong. I'll never mention it again if I am. It turns out that way. And I accept the possibility she was just that dumb and naive and did it and didn't mean to. But now I'm looking and thinking, you know what, Lauren London, I think she actually did it. I think she has something to do with Nipsey Hussle being taken out, even though Kitty Shuz, which is not his real name, I use spoonerism so that I didn't curse, was the one that took him out. Eric Holder. That's the one that took him out. And what did his girlfriend do? Drive his getaway car for him. Meanwhile, Nipsey can't get no cooking. He can't even get no respect for trying to be positive from a girl that grew up in a 2-parent upper class house in Malibu. And that's why I call her a girl. She ain't grown yet. Talking about some, oh, I liked it Kane, but O-Dog was so sexy because he killed them people in the store. You bunky fitch. That is what gets the community in the situation it's in. And it's not just because dudes are worshiping these broads. It's because they raised many of us. And the ones that ain't with that stuff ain't really going to sit up and speak out against the ones who are. So consequently, jigabosity and spearchuckerism have taken over the culture in certain areas, but we still have a collective memory of when we were better. This is because we keep seeing ourselves get worse. I remember I was old enough in the late 80s to really start to become racially aware. And I became aware of how we were misdepicted. And then by the summer of 1990, I saw a major difference. See, summer of 89 you had NWA, but the real moral damage I think was done 1990. By 1991, we all thought it was cool to be boys in the hood. I don't even remember what year that movie came out. And that movie was not a promotion of jigabosity and spearchuckerism. It was a demotion of it. And yet we looked at the violent scenes and said, yeah, man, that's what life be like. And I was in a nice neighborhood. And I remember when somebody who was older than us said, yeah, I think it would be fun to live in a situation like that. I think it would be fun. Are you cucking fitting me? I thought it had probably been a nice adrenaline rush, but how could it be fun? Because you see your people. And back then, in the early pro-black stages, I was like, these are people who not only built the pyramids, but who built other civilizations we don't even know about because we didn't have the internet. We could just look them up. I knew they were there, but I didn't know what they were. And I thought we were more closely related to the ancient Kemetic people than we really are. I didn't know. I was a kid. I was just learning this stuff. But I do remember thinking, we went from that to this. How was that fun seeing us degenerate? See, a lot of us say, yeah, but you know, these are young folks, man, and they got to go through that. No, they don't have to go through that. That's what I meant when I said that the concept of our concept of the teenage years was messing us up. We think that the teens and the young adults are naturally stupid and it's okay for them to degenerate. No, it's not. That's when you generate. That's when you excel and improve as a person. That's when you grow the up in your teens. By the time you can have your first wet dream or bleed your first menses, the moral centers of your brain are as developed as they're going to be for a 70-year-old. Your experience will be lacking and your finances will be lacking. And these are not the fault of that person, but the understanding of right versus wrong is there. Experience helps that, but it's there. And we got to stop looking at these stages of life and saying, well, if they can make it through this stage, why can't they? See, the ones that are very mature for their age in the teens and don't do the dumb stuff are the normal ones. Now, they resist a lot of pressure, and that's where they deserve their praise, but they're normal. We don't seem to realize that. And this has a lot to do with why it is that these boys understand what they got to do and be and have and accomplish and all this. And then they turn around and they don't have to be bad people per se to get shot. But they do have to be either bad people to couple up with somebody, or they got to be successful enough to be targets for robbery, but willing to do things that take risks to enhance the chances of them being robbed. I honestly believe that these women are now looking at these guys and saying, I want someone that's going to get shot, and if he's not going to, then I'm going to help him. If I'm not going to get the money, then he deserved it because I wasn't going to get it. And if I'm going to get it, then I'll take him out so that I get it either way. I'm starting to wonder if that's what's going on, because I'm telling you, they don't love you when they want to do stuff like that. Forget, they don't even care about your basic rights. The peer group is so important to them. Showing off is so important to them that if you die in a robbery so that they can say that they ate somewhere, that's fine. Even if they didn't intend for you to die. You got to leave them alone. You must. Thank you for listening. Black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it in black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.